Hey guys, my name is Jonathan Reich. I'm a licensed CPA in the state of Louisiana, and today I want to talk to you about the best online notary platforms. Ready, set, go! No, I'm just kidding. I'm a little bit more slower paced than that typically, but there is a lot of content that I want to cover with you folks today. So, really, let's go ahead and jump right into it. There's a bunch of jargon. I want to try and keep this high level and short. So, the best online notary softwares. Well, what exactly is a notary? It basically is a stamp that says your signature is who you say you are and it is binding. So, typically, you would go get a notary service from like a bank or a library or the UPS store. Typically, is like where you would find those around here. They may be on every street corner in a major metropolitan city, but they're not here. So it's kind of a hassle. I have a bookkeeper who has her notary. It makes my life really easy, but occasionally she's out of office, and so I need to be able to get stuff done in a pinch. And so I've tried out a bunch of these different online notary platforms, and they all have their place. They all do a decent job. But we notarize a lot, and so we have kind of come across most of the platforms I'm willing to recommend. So this video is going to be the best online notary platforms out there. So I want to talk about OneNotary, Notarize, which is now proof.com, NotaryCam, DocuSign Notary, and Blue Notary. So the first things I want to talk about is what's their API and integration depth? Are they able to plug and play with other softwares if you're running a real estate business, or maybe you're in a banking institution, or you're deep in law firm territory? A lot of the paper pushing happens in these offices. And so you want it to be able to plug and play with your software stack. Compliance and security, it's a must have as a CPA. Like, I need to make sure that you're compliant with state rules, that this notary will work across different state lines. How seriously does the platform take identity verification? You know, are they showing credentials? Are they doing knowledge-based inquiries, biometric checks, stuff like that? How seriously does the platform take data security? Because I can't have bank accounts, addresses, social security numbers, names, relatives leaked if I have some type of issue, or if the notarization platform has some type of issue. I also want to talk about pricing, and then the overall user experience. So let's go ahead and jump in. So the one that I have found that I enjoy the most is OneNotary. The strengths are it's very fair pricing. So for me, the one-offs that I need are $25. I'm not signed up with a business plan just because I don't really need it. But if you are someone who doesn't want to leave the office, it's quite literally more time consuming for you to find someone and hire them as a bookkeeper, train them because they have a notary stamp. Then they have plans out there for you that are not $25 per stamp. That's what I find myself using the most just because of my situation. It's $49 a month. You can see here for individuals and businesses. For the individual, it's that $25 a month that I just mentioned, and then it's this $49 a month. And then if you're really pushing a lot of paper, there's an enterprise. You'll have to call and talk to a salesperson. Nothing to it. You're going to find that to be true with a lot of these. It does offer API support, so you can embed notarization into your own product or portal, and so it's really programmer friendly. They also do advanced verification checks. So whenever I click Notarize now, in the couple instances that I've had to use it, it takes like 2 minutes. You enter your social, your address, your payment information, upload the document that you want notarized. You're pretty much instantly connected. It's that fast. They stamp it. It's got like an e-signature, e-authorization that says, hey, this is legitimate, and that's it. You've got your document. So they take that very seriously, and then on certain tiers they'll store the document. It's a one-stop shop for anything that you need. So they also keep video and audio recordings to make sure that if something were ever called into question regarding that document, that they have the backup, and that you're secure and that they're secure. Some of the weaknesses of the platform, it's not as well known. It's just a little bit newer, a little bit smaller. So if you have a very conservative organization that only wants to work with like PandaDocs or DocuSign Notary, that is something to consider if there's going to be a lot of friction there. If you're already in DocuSign, it may make more sense for you to use DocuSign's in-house notary system as part of their software stack. it is what it is. DocuSign's a good program, but it can get pricey pretty quick. And then some of the other players on the list, they're gonna lean a little bit harder into some of their messaging, maybe around security. But I really don't think OneNotary has any issues. I'm happy to use it, and so I think it's sufficient for most folks' needs because I am pretty picky when it comes to that security compliance. So if you need major volume, OneNotary can handle it. If you're just like me and you need a couple of months, it can also handle it. It's a good starting point. It's a good middle ground to kind of see what you need and to explore. So the next one I want to talk about is Proof. So its strengths, it's got a huge network of on-demand notaries. They're available 24/7. I have found that to be true with OneNotary as well. They're really tied into mortgage, title, closings, real estate. They have a lot of specialized products, so that's where their bread and butter is going to be. They also, like OneNotary, have API and integration abilities, so you can embed things into your workflow. And then they also have that identity verification that we talked about that is super important for whenever you're using an ROM. Some of the weaknesses are the platform can feel a little heavy if you just want to use OneNotary here and there. No pun intended. If you just need like OneNotary here and there, I have found that the user interface with OneNotary is a little bit cleaner. It's a little bit easier to access it, a little bit faster. And then I also don't like that their pricing for their enterprise solutions are opaque. Granted, they're going to be opaque for most of them on the list, including OneNotary. But at least with OneNotary, you can have that middle tier that's $49, whereas you would need to then call for a sales pitch on the enterprise level stuff, which I think is going to be more so if you're like really pushing a lot of paperwork. But like I said, primarily mortgage focused. I also think that would be a weak point. Obviously, they're going to be able to field different needs, but my take is that is their focus. That is their center point. And so if you're like a lender or a title company, it's perfect. If you're a lawyer or an accountant, you may feel like you're being squeezed a little bit and you have to figure out how to work on those edge cases. So the next one I want to talk about is NotaryCam. I do have a separate review out there. This is a perfectly fine platform. I liken it to OneNotary very much in that it's got a clean user interface. It's got a lot of integrations. It can also field mid-sized businesses. There's nothing wrong with the platform, but it's got a strong fit for eClose and QuickStart. So that's going to be basically centered around real estate. I bet you're noticing a pattern here. A lot of these are focused on real estate. And so that's this price here. That's that $199. If you need something, just a seal or a stamp, it's $25. And then wills and trusts are going to be a little bit more expensive. I do like that they outline these different costs before you get started. But if you're checking out their business pricing, get ready to be disappointed because once again, you're gonna have to schedule a call to see what makes the most sense for you. Contact sales, contact sales, contact sales. You do get tons of different things though, so keep that in mind. They also offer 24/7 access. They have the video recordings, audio recordings. They're gonna keep up with it. They're very compliant. All of these platforms take security and compliance, in my opinion, extremely seriously because it's the only thing that they do. If they lost their compliance certificate, they don't have a business. And so they have to take it seriously, which makes me feel better about recommending any of them. Pricing, custom, product marketing case studies definitely skew towards real estate. It's just that's where the most money is in RON, so it makes sense that a lot of these tailor themselves to that. So it's definitely a white glove approach if you're in that market. So if you're in the real estate world, you have a lot to think about. Whereas if you want something more generalist, like OneNotary that can field a ton of things, including real estate, do consider that not where your business is today, but where it may be a couple years from now if you want to diversify or be able to field other types of paperwork and documents. So it's just not as it's not as generalist, in my opinion, as some of the other platforms. DocuSign, I like to include this one because if you're already in the DocuSign ecosystem, it makes sense to use. It really does. It is a bit more pricey. You're not going to find online. You're not going to find online pricing for this, but I would expect it to be about $50 a month for the software and then a per seal cost, just like the rest of them. And then as the amount of people who are using that software in your office goes up, the amount of seats and the amount of money that it's going to take per month to maintain access will also scale linearly. So, $50 a month for one person, 10 people, it might be $500 a month, plus the actual cost of their stamps. So keep that in mind. DocuSign is really intuitive. It's really nice to use. It's also really pricey. So if you're already using DocuSign, it makes sense to at least consider adding this. It's going to feel very familiar. You won't have to train folks. It's all under the same umbrella. You get the usual DocuSign benefits like secure storage, audit trails, and once again, that compliance is right there. So weaknesses, obviously going to be the pricing, and then it's not designed to be a neutral RON that you can embed anywhere. You're going to be stuck with DocuSign. If you are trying to set up a software stack for like a law firm or something like that, you need to consider if you want to lock yourself into DocuSign. Whereas, you may want to change to PandaDocs one day because they have a better workflow. So make sure you're comfortable with that. And then API and integration options are strong if DocuSign can already plug and play, but you're going to run into issues if DocuSign cannot connect to those and then get embedded into your workflow. So the last one I want to talk about is OneNotary. I like this one because it leans heavily into the API first pitch, which means to me it's really geared toward mid-sized to big businesses. It's clearly positioned. It has partner integration, developer resources front and center. So if that's what you're after, this is the one that you may want to consider. Also consider some of the other ones that I've mentioned, like OneNotary, or the second one that I mentioned, which is NotaryCam. Those all kind of play into that same category of, well, we can field a lot of things. Some of them are, once again, going to be focused more on real estate, but they're all also kind of generalist. So the other reason I like OneNotary is you get this transparent pricing up here. You just say, how many seats do I need? And then until you get to a large amount of seats, it's just going to tell you what it's going to cost. So up to 15 seats per business, $37 per notary per month. And that's for business. If you are a notary, you can, this is what it costs to be a part of their team. And so I really do like how they have this interactive sliding price scale. But once again, once you are, pretty sizable, you're going to have to call. And you're going to have to figure out and waste your time and talk to someone and tell them what your volume is and how much they're going to charge you per month. Don't love that, but at least they're semi-transparent, which is a big step up above some of the other ones that we've talked about today. It has strong compliance like the rest of them. It's MISMO and RON certified. It's got SOC2 type compliance. It's HIPAA compliant. Any notary platform that you use, like I sound like a broken record, you're probably going to be okay in terms of compliance. But they're a little bit smaller. Their brand awareness, their marketing is not as diverse as maybe DocuSign or Proof or Notarize.com. So this is kind of important if your vendors may be a little worried about, hey, who are they using? What is this link from? So keep that in mind. They do have a professional website that you can point people towards if they do have that source of hesitancy. And the feature set is, in my opinion, once again, geared towards real estate. There is some legal in here rather than general HR or like fintech platforms. So keep that in mind. You may feel, once again, those edge cases if you are if you're trying to be a generalist office. So, but overall, guys, any of these platforms are going to work. Just shop around, see what makes sense for your volume, and then make sure the one thing that I think is most important to take away is don't look just at the notarization platform. Look at all the other software that you're using and see, as documents move through the workflow from here to here to here to where they ultimately get stamped. Am I going to have to print this thing out, scan it in as a PDF, then take it to a notary, or then take the time to upload it? Or is it 1, 2, 3, done? And where is that going to save you the most time? Because saving you the most time is ultimately the goal of any of these platforms. And so just make sure that whatever you're doing, make sure the platform that you choose can integrate with your workflow to save that time, because save time is save money. And that's all there is to it. So find the one that plays well. Some of the other ones, some of these platforms are going to be plug and play with their APIs and their developer front and center resources readily available, more so than the other ones like DocuSign, maybe not so much. OneNotary, NotaryCam, Blue Notary, those are going to be the ones that are going to be able to be plug and play, especially if you're a little bit more tech savvy. And then just make sure that it works well for your workflow. And after that, just pick the one that's cheapest. Pick the one that you feel like is going to have the best customer service. Pick the one that's going to be able to get back to you quickest if there's an issue. And that's how I would select an RON. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed. This is definitely not all inclusive, but these are probably the top online notary services that I've run across whenever I've kind of taken them for a drive. So thanks for watching, guys.